All right, what is up, guys? Here to break down the Euro 2020, I guess, final. Been an awesome tournament. Glad to have been able to do these videos. It's going to be an awesome finale today. England and Italy, two of the best teams in the world. Obviously, they've been very good in this tournament. Getting it done today. One of these teams is going to take it home, whether it's England keeping it home because they've played every single game at Wembley except for one. So will be interesting to see. It's going to be fun from a DFS perspective because there's not a lot of expected scoring. But conversely, there's not a lot of floor plays that we can go to either. So I think goalies are going to be important in a lot of the different builds. But we'll hop into that. I'm going to touch on the sheet. Just going to give a minute or two for people to hop in. I know it's 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning, so there's probably not going to be many live viewers, but there's plenty of time, 6 hours till kick, until we get started, until lock today. So be sure, if you haven't, to join us over at Patreon, covering every sport. I think we got UFC last night was pretty good. I think we had one, a guy posted in chat this morning that he took fourth in the big GPP, which I think split for $1,400. Nice little hit there. So congratulations to him. Obviously, soccer, we'll have EPL coming back next month, and I'll be covering anything in the middle of that time. I think the U.S. plays today, but hopefully they'll start making those contests a little bigger. But I'll be covering all that and getting ready for EPL coming back. We have MLB daily, NBA tonight for the finals. Going to have that sheet up as well. We obviously have college football, college basketball coming up soon. NASCAR today. Chris will have a live video. Not sure that I'm going to be able to join him today, but they're racing at Atlanta. So that's going to be a fun time. He will have the live video, I think, in a few hours for that. Lock is early afternoon, so we'll have that. PGA, the Open Championship next week. I know Chris and I are both planning to do at least one show, maybe two, for the Open Championship next week, Monday and maybe Wednesday. I think Lock is during the middle of the night on Wednesday night, usually, for the Open Championship, but there'll be big contests. I think there's 3 milli makers again, so let's go ahead and crush that. LOL, League of Legends, Kenny and Ryan have been crushing that as well with all the different leagues. And then tennis as well. We have a sheet for that coming up, and it's been fun. So hop on in, join us. $10 for single sport, $20 for the month. Going to be a fun time over at Patreon in the Discord chat. We have a lot of guys that chat day in and day out, so be sure to join us over there. So going to go ahead and jump into the sheet. England, Italy. England is the slight favorite here, plus 145, whereas Italy is the plus 235 dog. And if you look at the total, it's a 2 total. So, and I'm not even sharing the screen. So 2 total, and the VIG is actually on the under there. So we have quite a bit of the sports books are thinking that it's going to be a low scoring affair, either 1-0, possibly 2-0, but maybe 1-1 going to extra time. I lean that it's going to be 1-0 either team. I think the builds from a GPP standpoint, especially, it's very simple to make 1-0 lineups today. So I'm going to touch on some of the main core pieces, the floor guys for these teams, and there's not many. If you're looking at cash games, and I'm going to touch on some builds here in a minute as well, but on the England side, the favored side here, Mason Mount obviously has the monopoly of set pieces when he's on. He did sub. He played most of the game last match, but did sub a little early. 8,800 though is a very fair price for him. I think he's a lock for cash games. And Insigne on the other side is also a lock for cash games, even though he struggled against Spain. I expect him to bounce back here. He's 10-8. I think those two are the first two priorities from a cash game perspective. For the rest of England, we've been having this conversation, I think, all tournament, KANE versus Sterling. KANE has got there recently, 10-6 for him now. He's back up to where he was, I think, early in the tournament. I do still lean Raheem Sterling, and we're going to look at the game logs here in a minute, but if you can look at these stats here, Sterling has scored 3 to Kane's 4, and he has almost the same floor of shots on target, and a few more crosses. But and 9,200, so $1,400 discount. I do lean Sterling for me there. KANE, I expect to be popular, like he always is, even more than Sterling in my eyes. But it could change for sure just because of that discount. But Sterling would be my priority there. Saka at 6,800 would be a good GPP option. We've seen him get forward and get some really good opportunities to either assist or score. So if he does that today in what I expect a low-scoring affair, he could be definitely on the winner. As far as floor plays, the rest of England, Luke Shaw would be the next best floor after Mason Mount, probably from a crossing and assist perspective. He's not anything sensational for 7,200. But he makes a lot of sense with a clean sheet upside if you're playing the England side of a 1-0 with Pickford. I think he makes some sense. And if Mount goes off a little early, Shaw should take some corners in that scenario as well. Maguire and Stones have been set piece threats pretty much the entire tournament. Maguire a little more than Stones. And he's 4,600 as opposed to 3,800, so fairly similar. I think I lean Maguire there, but Stones is a good option as well. And again, they got the clean sheet upside if you're playing Pickford. So you're going to notice that I have both the goalies marked as core plays, and that's because, like I said, you need to pick which side you're going on. If it's 1-0 either way, that goalie needs to be in the lineup. If you're going 0-0, after 90 minutes, and even if you're thinking it's 0-0 going to penalty kicks, you could play both. I don't know that I'm going to play both in one lineup. If I was multi-entering, I definitely would have some of that. So that's England for me. Rice, Phillips, and Walker are all kind of blah plays if you land on them. Rice and Phillips are cheaper than both the fullbacks, but I don't think they have as much upside as Maguire and Stones. And Walker is just not done a ton in this tournament. So that's kind of where I'm at there with England. On the other side, Italy, Chiesa and Insigne would be the top two plays for me, 8,000 and then 10,800. Insigne obviously is the priority, but Chiesa scored last match, and he's shown quite a good floor as well. So I do like him. Verratti has took some corners as well. And 7,000 for him. I expect him to bounce back after kind of a stinker last match against Spain there. But I expect him to bounce back. And Immobile is more the GPP option like KANE on the other side. I think of those two, I lean KANE. But if you're building a 1-0 Italy GPP lineup, then there's no reason not to include him in your thoughts there, because 9-4, he could be the one goal scorer in the game for sure, fed from Chiesa or Verratti or Insigne with the assist, and then you pair it with Donnarumma, and you're off and running there. So he's a fine option for GPPs. We know he has upside, but the three main core pieces for me are Chiesa, Insigne, Verratti. After that, Jorginho is probably my favorite low value on the slate, $4,000. If you watch that penalty shootout in their last match, he took the last one for them. I think he clinched it for them, and he has that little hop step, and he's a really good penalty taker, and that's why he's on penalties for Italy. So if they get one in the game at some point, he will be taking the penalty, and he's $4,000. That is not out of the question at all. So 4,000, I think he's a good option. You could even put him, if you're building a 1-0 lineup, you could play him at captain and really jam in all the floor plays like Mount, Shaw, Chiesa, and Insigne. I think you can do it. I'll play around with it in a second. But Jorginho, could be the only goal scorer, and he wouldn't have an assist with it. So that would be a very interesting option, but I really do like him from a cash perspective too at 4,000. Barella would be the other GPP option for me. He does have a goal and assist in the tournament, and he's 5'4", not an awful price. I wish he was in the 4Ks. Emerson did come out off a little bit early, like we did not expect, or I didn't expect last match, but he's not very DFS friendly. And 5'2", I'm not enthused about getting there. I suppose if you're playing Donnarumma, you could pair him with either any of these four, but none are very good for DFS. Bonucci, Chiellini are very defensive. They're very good defensively, but they're not very good for DFS. Di Lorenzo and Emerson are just not great DFS fullbacks, which is annoying for this matchup. But it's the main guys for me and Jorginho. On the Italy side, like I said, Mount, Sterling, Shaw, Pickford are the core guys for me there. And then you got the value plays, and then flanked by GPP options of KANE and Saka. So let's take a look here. I'm going to share. Let's see if I can do this today. That would be good. Going to share the screen with the formation here. So if you take a look at it, just a quick look at this formation, Emerson and Di Lorenzo, like I said, are not very good fullbacks, even though they're out wide. Chiellini, Bonucci, Jorginho is kind of the core defensive spot for Italy. And then you got Verratti, who will take a couple sets. Barella, who is a fine GPP option. Insigne, Immobile, Chiesa up front. I've hit on them plenty. KANE is the GPP option. He'll get up front, but he is going to be going up against those core three defensive. So that's why I'm leaning toward the fade. But I haven't fully built yet, so we'll see where I end up. But Mount is a fine option on set pieces. Saka and Sterling are the out wide touches there for England. So they're good options. Like I said, Phillips and Rice are going to kind of tuck in with Stones and Maguire defensively. The advantage to Stones and Maguire is they get very good opportunities on the set pieces, on the corners. They get forward, get in the box, have the opportunities. Walker is just not great from a DFS perspective. Shaw would be the better fullback option for England. And then you got Pickford and Donnarumma. So let's see. Let's build a couple lineups, play around with that. All right. So just taking a look at how to build these lineups. So cash games, if you look at cash games, I think the most interesting build is going to be Mount at captain. If you just take a look at his logs here, obviously he came off at 95, but played the full 90 in the last match. 9 crosses, 4 shots assisted. So he had 15 floor points against Denmark. I know they controlled probably more of the possession than they're going to here, but he's the best cash play in the game, I think, especially with the price that he's at. He is down here, I think, 8,800 in utility pricing. So that is very cheap for him. Insigne obviously struggled a little bit in the last match, 3.2. But we know Spain is kind of the team who's going to control possession a lot of the game, no matter who they're playing against. That's just, they are able to do it, and that's how they play. So I'm not fully surprised that we've seen a stinker there from Insigne, but I expect him to get back to a much better floor like he's had all tournament here. So I think he is the second plug in cash games. Then you got 6,500. So you can kind of go two ways from here. And this is kind of how I build lineups. It's either you prioritize your third stud, or you come down and take your value plays, a couple of them, and then see what range you're in left for your last higher price guy, because you are going to be able to get one of these other top plays, whether it's Chiesa, Sterling, I suppose KANE, but he's not the cash option for me, the core building block. So if you drop down, like I said, my favorite value on the slate is Jorginho. That leaves you 7,300. And then from there in cash, are you building? Yeah, I think you still got to think about it. Are you building for 1-0? Are you building for 0-0? Are you building for 1-1? How are you building for this game in cash games? And I think the most popular route will be 1-0 England. So if you're building a 1-0 England cash lineup with Mount and captain, he's going to get the floor points. Let's see. Then you're still going to definitely plug in Pickford at 64. Just to take a look, something that just popped into my head. If we're playing kind of Jorginho for PKs, where are we? Are we really getting the floor from him in a 1-0 England build? Because obviously he's not going to get the PK in that, but it looks to me like we are for $4,000. If you look at, I know he played 120 minutes and got 8.5 here, and one of those was the penalty kick in the shootout, but he's had a floor of 6, 6, 4, 7 in this 9 in this tournament, and he's not got a penalty in regular play yet. So I think that's very viable. The next decision, you got 7,800 left here. So do you go to Shaw and then come up to? Oh, that's the cash lineup. Chiesa. That's definitely the cash optimal building lineup. What I was gonna say was, do you come down and take one of these Harry Maguires, and then you got, this is very easy build, if you can see here. So this would be my core for cash. Mount captain, and Insigne, Jorginho, Pickford. So then from there, you've just got to decide that 2v2 that I literally just showed you would be the core building block. Could be my main GPP lineup as well. Kane and Maguire, or you have the option of Chiesa and Shaw. So that's the interesting cash build. But if we're going GPP, I want to play around with that 1-0 Italy build on the PK from Jorginho at captain. So kind of what I just figured out is I don't even think we need it, which is kind of going to make this not a massive a building block type of team, obviously. But if Jorginho is the one goal, I think they could outscore the other route. So Jorginho 1-0, you got Jorginho Donnarumma, 9,500 left. Where are you paying up? Insigne, I think, is the next option. And Mount, I still think you're going to play the floor guys there. And then you have 9,200. So if you look at Raheem Sterling, and this is what I was touching on and why I lean him over Harry Kane. If you look at the floor that he's had, last match, 6 shots, 3 on goal, 2 crosses, 3 fouls drawn, 14 points in 120 minutes. Okay. Ukraine had the assist, subbed out at 65, game was in hand, 11.8. He had, I think that's 5 floor points in 65 minutes. That's fine. Germany, 18, obviously had the goal. Take away the goal, he's still near 10. Czech Republic, take away the goal, he's in the 5 to 7 range. So outside of this Scotland game, which was 0-0, Scotland packed it in, he has been good even when he does not score. Ukraine, I think that was, he only played 65 minutes, so he would have had more floor points than 5. So the Denmark game was his best floor game with 6 shots. I don't think we see 6 shots out of Raheem Sterling, but I just like the discount that we're getting opposed to Kane, where if you look at Kane, he scored in the last match, had 4 shots, 3 on goal. Outside of this Denmark match, he really does not, and he played the 120 minutes and the goal was the PK that he kind of got bailed out by, in my opinion. I was on the fade, so I am a little biased, but he missed the PK and got the rebound, so that even added more. That gave him 2 shots on goal. The goal, So that's why you're kind of seeing that I'm leaning the fade of KANE. Obviously, the Ukraine one he put in too, but other than that, his floor has not been good at all. 3, 4, 5, 13 in a goal scoring against Germany. Take away the goal, he's down in the 4 range again. So if he does not score and you're playing for 1-0, obviously of the higher priced England pieces in a 1-0 Italy build, you're not playing Harry Kane. You're playing Raheem Sterling. And if you're looking here, you can leave money on the table in this build. Like I said, it's GPP. If you play Sterling, you can then still play Chiesa, often running 4-2 Italy. Even that, I don't even know. Like I said, it's tough for me to pair one of these fullbacks, these defenders for Italy, because they're just not great. I guess Emerson would be the first option, but he did not look great. 1 cross, 1 shot, 4 points in 74. Obviously didn't get the clean sheet there, so if he would have, it would have been 7. So he's fine, I think, but in this build, I don't know that you need him. So I think that's an interesting 1-0 type build, because I think if you think Jorginho gets the PK and it's 1-0, there's no other goal scored. So you need the floors from the rest of your lineup. So those 3 would be the main floor guys in a 1-0 Italy build, because Donnarumma's going to get the win and the clean sheet, probably some saves along the way, and then Insigne, Mount are the best floors on the slate, and then you just fill in around them. So that's an interesting way to go. If you are captaining, my favorite GPP captain for England, as you could kind of guess, is Raheem Sterling. And if you plug in Raheem Sterling at captain, and then you have still probably going to want, let's see, Sterling getting the assist. I think you're going to want Mount still. I think Mount's going to be in any of the lineups that I build today. You could play Shaw for the other assist opportunity to Sterling. Let's see. And then you're still going to want Pickford for sure. 1-0 England. You've got him paired with Shaw. 6,900. I guess you don't even have to play Luke Shaw. You could come down and play Harry Maguire for the clean sheet. If it's 2-0 England, this would be an interesting 2-0 England build. Sterling gets it from maybe Mount. Maguire gets the set piece goal on the assist from Mount. You're often running there. Clean sheet paired with Pickford, 8,200 left over. You got plenty you can do here. You could still play Luke Shaw if you're going 5-1. But if you take Insigne, you got 5-6, and then you got Barella, Emerson, Jorginho still. Let's see. So if you take out Insigne and you play one of these mid-price guys like Chiesa, who still does have a floor, and Verratti or Saka. Yeah, I think that's the way I'm going today. I showed you the cash optimal type building route that I'm looking at. I showed you a couple GPP options, whether it's Jorginho or Raheem Sterling are the first 2 there. So that's where I'm going. Good luck to everybody today. I hope we crush this final slate of Euros. Got a couple questions here. Sorry, I'm not on the same screen. Let me scroll the chat and make sure we have any questions. Strategy on FanDuel or not playing FanDuel? I'm not playing FanDuel. If you're playing FanDuel, you're going much more for goals. So the goal scoring on FanDuel is worth a lot more, because the floor guys are not getting there. So you're definitely going for even clearances. I think they give clearances still. As you know, as you can kind of tell, I don't play on FanDuel. But yeah, I think Chris answered that very accurately. One defender, no goal. Yeah. So I think you're going more for goals. So I think KANE becomes a little more enticing. Immobile becomes a little more enticing. You're not playing for much floor at all. Sterling is still a good option. So that's where I would go there. And then the clearance deal, I think Chiellini, Bonucci are fine options there as well. And I'm sure they're very cheap. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, Travis based building based on Italy win. Don't mind that at all. It's going to be very close, and I don't know who I lean for my 1-0 builds right now. Right now, I do lean England, but man, they could definitely disappoint today. So I still need to do a little build playing around and see where I can end up. But that definitely does make sense. Building for the Italy win. I know a lot of sharp people are on Italy today. So we're going to see if England can bring it home. So good luck to everybody. Thanks for joining on all the videos throughout Euro 2020. I will definitely continue to do these when EPL returns for sure. Be sure to join in at 11:05 for Chris's NASCAR show today for the Atlanta race. That will be a very good one as well. I will not be able to join in today, but I hope to get back with him early in the week and break down some Open Championship golf. So good luck to everybody, and we'll see you at the top